Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. Bring on the host, Sam, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs.
Hello everyone, I'm Sam, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs and the host of Vegas Rock Dog Radio. On today's show, I'm talking about the Bahamas swimming pigs and animal news from around the world, so stay right there.
Let's bring on the host, Sam, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm your host Sam. I am the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs and this is Vegas Rock Dog Radio. We're a rock and roll show all about pets, people and pop culture. And in studio with me today is Jim, and he is
help of the host,
making all the magic happen. And we've got Mr. Twix in studio and Miss Thornton. And
he's not in studio.
Oh, and
he's in his closet somewhere.
And Miss Galaxy looks down on us to make sure we bring a great show to you every single week. So thank you for listening in. If you are new to the show, hello. If you're one of our regular listeners, hello. And let's tell you how you can connect with us on the internet before we get into our weekly update and then onto the main topics of the show. So our website, pretty easy, is vegasrockdogradio.com, and that's where most people go to click on the Listen Live link every Saturday at 10 a.m. And we are sometimes, not that often on Periscope, but you'll certainly find us a lot on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr, and Instagram. Now, we do have a blog, and our blog is our blog is the rockandrolldog.com. And if you don't catch the live show, then you can catch up on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spoke by SiriusXM, Spotify, and any other podcast app that you may have on your phone. We also have a second show. It's a very small, quick show, and it's called Pet Tip of the Day. And that's exactly what it is, a quick pet tip that takes less than 30 seconds to listen to the tip. And I was toying with the idea of, I already do a lot of product reviews, but actually maybe having a product review podcast.
That would be a separate thing altogether.
Yes, it would be a separate show entirely, and it would just be honest reviews on pet products, and that can cover a lot of products. So I'm toying with that idea, and if we do that, I will certainly let you know. Okay, Jim. So let's do a weekly update. So if you're new to the show, this is usually what we do. We do this weekly update of what we've been up to from one week to the next. And then we get on to our main topic. And then we cover some animal news throughout the world. And there's always plenty of news to be had. So Dog Mom and Dog Mum notebooks are live. They're live on Amazon. Yay! This is these are the latest designs that I've created in these notebooks, and these are specifically for the Dog Mom and the Dog Mum. That means one is spelled M-O-M and the other one is spelled M-U-M, so that we can accommodate all of our listeners. So we have a lot of listeners in Australia, the UK, Canada, and of course we have a ton of listeners here in the States. So I wanted to make sure we had something for everybody, because I am that person. I wanted a journal spelt the way that I would spell it and pronounce it. So they are live on Instagram not on Instagram. They're live on Amazon, and the link will be in the show notes. So anything you hear about in the show, there will be a show note link for every single topic that we talk about. So no need to try and run and grab a pen or anything like that. It's all going to be in the show notes. Now, we were gone for a couple of days in Thousand Oaks in California because Jim has added a new show to his his list of places that and shows that he performs with, and he's now with a Carpenter's tribute show. And so they had a gig in Thousand Oaks, didn't you, Jim?
Yep, Thousand Oaks is beautiful.
It is.
Except
our hotel was horrible.
Oh, my word.
I wanted to be in a hazmat suit.
And I wanted to be armed.
I wanted to be somewhere else. It was horrible. But here was the issue. Sound check didn't get started till about 2.5 hours, 3 hours after it should have. So by the time sound check was done and we scrambled to get some food and then ran back and then just threw clothes on and went back for the performance. By the time the performance was over and we got back to the hotel, it was too late. And they were sold out. So
to drug dealers, construction bums.
We couldn't understand this particular hotel because I won't call it a hotel.
It was rough. It was like a rough house.
Because the area is lovely. So it made no sense to us. It was like, why is this here? Why are there weird people in their doorways of their hotel room, their motel room, with what do they call
cases
of beer, just drunk.
And marijuana.
It was the first room we were
shouting in the pool after 10
and then
p.m.
then the first room that we were in, the smell of bleach was unreal. So I don't know if they had to clean up some crime scene, and then the smell of marijuana. Anyway, one of the band members said, "Hey, I'm going back to Vegas. I'm not staying the night. You can have my room." It was clean, by the way. It doesn't smell of bleach. We're like, well, that's a bonus. It still creeps us out. Anyway, we decided the very next day to try and wipe that clean out of our minds that we went down to Santa Monica, which was great. Bit chilly, but that's okay. All I wanted to do is put my toes in the ocean. It was cold. I didn't care. I just wanted to be by the ocean. What's that song? By the ocean. Who sings that song?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I just saw it on the Billboard Music Awards. Anyway, of course, you know, I took a ton of these boomerangs. If you don't know what a boomerang video is, it's a very short video that goes forward and then backwards and forward and backwards. Anyway, I took a bunch of those of the seagulls, and that was fun. And then we decided we'd run over to the LA Farmers Market for a bite to eat, and there was some entertainment on. But while we were there, we, of course, bumped into some people who run a sanctuary. Of course we did. And they were called the Sanctuary at Soledad, and they are a goat, well, not solely goats, because they do other, cows, pigs, hamsters, dogs, cats,
hedgehogs.
birds. I mean, did they have hedgehogs?
I think they said they had hedgehogs as well.
And they were at the farmer's market with little tiny Jar Jar, the little tiny goat, who someone had paid a lot of money for her because she was a rare breed. And then their dogs attacked her, so then they gave her up. And that's how she ended up at the sanctuary. If you go to my Instagram account, Vegas Rock Dog, you'll see the pictures of it. Adorable. Anyway, they were there. They had a booth set up, and they were actually selling. And they've got, did they say 350 goats?
Yeah, 350 goats.
Because I think they're on 25 acres, aren't they? But they're about a good hour outside of LA. So they have to, twice a week they come down and they just work really hard for these animals. Anyway, they were selling soap with goat's milk in it. They were selling candles that had goat's milk in it. So they were able to raise money as well for themselves through some of the products from all of these goats that they have. Anyway, little Jar Jar tried to eat my phone, a paper bag. She tried to eat my shoelaces. And then what else did she try and nibble on? Oh, a tomato ketchup packet that was on the floor. She was so cute. Anyway, so we met the owners. They happen to be British, Carol and Julian Pierce. And I got chit-chatting with them and, through our charity, Rocking for Rescues, I said, well, let's see what we can do, see if we can help you guys out. They've got a massive undertaking. I think they said a total of 500 animals. Huge. So let me tell you a little bit about them. And, maybe you would like to support them with a donation. The Sanctuary at Soledad was founded by Carol and Julian Pierce. As I said, they're British. Award-winning goat cheese makers who in 2015 decided to give it all up and create an animal rescue farm. It wasn't a decision that was made overnight. Both Carol and Julian have had lifelong passions for animal welfare and met while saving sick calves. They've been rescuing abandoned, abused and neglected goats, cows, horses, pigs, chickens, ducks and dogs for years, saving many of them from being euthanized. And now those rescued animals live side by side with former dairy goats as they all live out their happy lives. Now they are a 501c3, that means they're a non-profit rescue, and they're funded by donations from supporters. And in addition, proceeds from the sale of the new vegan cheese go to the sanctuary. So at the sanctuary, animals are known by name, which, of course, we met a couple of them, and treated like family. And Carol's background in veterinary medicine and Julian's expertise in ruminant nutrition, not to mention their many years as goat farmers, means they are closely attuned to the health of the animals, and they keep a sharp eye on the well-being of all of them. They have successfully brought back to health many animals who are near death or in desperate straits. And they said they enjoy sharing their love of animals with their customers and supporters, especially with kids. Simply contact them to schedule a visit, so you can actually go and visit, and they look forward to showing you around the sanctuary. So it's huge, and they believe that they have a moral imperative to honor and respect the animals who have spent years in service to us on farms, as well as those who simply need a new home and little kindness to survive. So lovely. And pretty much any animal that shows up. We also met Hillary, who's one of their volunteers, and it looks like they got a really, really great sanctuary going. But it takes a lot to maintain something like that size and that many animals. And if you would like to make a donation, I'm going to have their website. In fact, I'm going to scroll down and give it to you right now. It's pretty easy to remember. It is sanctuaryatsoledad.org. And I say all those links are going to be in the bottom of my show notes. So, of course, can't go anywhere without meeting an animal. Who would have thought we would have met some goats at the LA market?
You weren't even paying attention. I had to show you that there were goats.
I know. Like, goats! And they were selling those candles and the soap
like crazy.
Yeah, they were. And it was
the soap was like in the shape of loaf slices at Starbucks.
Yeah. But I was really, really happy to talk to them. And as soon as I could, I uploaded all their photos that I took. And I'm in the pictures with this cute little Jar Jar. And got them onto my stories on Instagram to tell people about them. And, that's a big part of helping. If you can't make a donation, you can most certainly can share their information or tag some friends in, or like I did, share them on your stories. And they've got a little competition going right now. They said they're going to start a goat band. So they wanted a name for the band. So I came up with Metallic Goats, as in Metallica, Metallic Goats. There was, instead of Motley Crue, it was Motley Goats. I would have picked one of them. There's about 5 that I suggested, but it's. I don't think you could even put a price on the kind of work that those people do. But very, very excited for them. And I think they're starting a second sanctuary in Florida. But they're looking at. They're looking. Well, no, not looking at. They own some property out there, but I do know they were saying that they could probably drop down their feed costs because it's pastures, so the goats get to eat,
free range goating.
Yeah. So they're very smart. They're no fools. They've been doing this a long, long time.
Don't people rent goats out to keep people's grass down?
They do. They do in some places. Yeah, they do. So there you go. So that was our little 2-day adventure, and meeting the goats definitely erased the creepy hotel memory. I swear, we've always got a story, haven't we, Jim? We've always got a story to tell you. And Jim is off this weekend. He's going to be in Wisconsin
and Lake Las Vegas.
It's chilly. It's very chilly. So he's had to pull out some winter clothes. We're currently, actually, we're not as warm as we normally are in Vegas, but hey, I'll take it because I'll be crying about the heat come July and August. Oh, and we've got one of my sister's friends has come out to Vegas for a week, so we hung out with them for a day, showed them a different side of Vegas, the desert side of Vegas, which generally most people don't get to see when they come on holiday. So that was really nice, and I got my chocolate stash, which
where is it?
It's in my belly. So it's been a fun week. It's been a fun week. So let's get on to the first topic. And you've probably seen this video on social media, but the Bahamas swimming pig attractions are out of control, say animal rights advocates. So you've probably seen these beautiful clear blue waters and these little pigs swimming around. So here's this little article. It says, not long ago, the novelty of swimming with pigs off the shore of an uninhabited Bahama island elicited squeals of delight and selfies aplenty. Now, copycat attractions across the Bahamas are provoking concerns about mistreatment from animal rights advocates who are calling for regulation, inspection, and limits on the number of swimming swine attractions. If Kim Arana, president of the Bahama Humane Society, had her way, the government would outlaw the strange endeavor altogether.
It is very strange.
It's very strange. Let them be.
Why do you want to put the pigs in the water and force them like that?
No, I don't think they force them. I think they do swim.
They might like it, but I mean, then you make them do it. And what about other predatory fishes and and crazy goings on?
It gets a little bit exhausting, doesn't it? The way that animals are used. It's terrible. She says it's completely out of control. And she says, and as an animal advocate, I hate it. She said that the swimming with pigs phenomenon began years ago when some tourists boating through the Exuma chain noticed a group of pigs wandering around the beach of an uninhabited Big Major Cay. As their boat approached, some of the pigs began swimming towards it. And pigs will do anything for food, she said. So they're food motivated. Animal rights advocates want better treatment for animals featured in this Freeport Bahamas swimming pig attraction. It's called Celebrity Eco Adventures. And these photos provided by the Humane Society of Grand Bahama, pigs are kept in an unshaded pen on a narrow quay until the excursion boats approach. Then workers herd the pigs out of the pen into the water towards the tourists. The attraction's proprietor told the Bahamas Tribune that the pigs are well cared for and only kept in the pen in the morning. You see, it's one thing.
I'll bet they're starved, and that's why they're motivated to go to whoever's showing up.
Well, we know that happens a lot in animal attractions. So anyway, she estimated that more than 20 attractions have sprung up in recent years across the island chain, each offering tourists the opportunity to wade or boat in shallow waters as pigs beg them for scraps of food. Oh, dear. Anyway, people are traveling from Finland and Japan to see swimming pigs, she said. And the guys who operate the boats in New Providence charge $300 to $400 to see swimming pigs, and people will actually pay it so they can take pictures next to swimming pigs. Selfies with animals, it's a big thing. It's a no-no. Don't do it. It's shameful. People look down on you for that now. It's not cool. Don't take pictures with animals, especially wild animals. It's because if you can take a picture with a wild animal, it's probably been drugged. So you can do that, because generally in the wild, they don't do selfies. Anyway, they say the attractions range in size from Piggyville on Abaco, promoted by the Abaco Beach Resort and Boat Harbour Marina, according to Arana. And a guy walks down Bay Street in Nassau with two pigs on a leash. Gosh. They go to the Ministry of Agriculture farm, buy a couple of piglets, and they think they'll make millions. So there is some controversy, though, Jim. The travel blogger stirs up some controversy. Earlier this month, the Bahamas Tribune published portions of a social media post and photos from a Canadian travel blogger criticizing treatment of pigs at a Freeport attraction called Celebrity Eco Adventures. Writing on her Facebook page under the handle Kennedy from Canada, blogger Kennedy Fisher says she signed up for the excursion expecting the beautiful and wonderful Exuma experience she'd heard about. But at the Freeport attraction, she saw pigs corralled in a pen exposed to wind and high seas on a narrow, unshaded quay, then tossed by employees into rough waves as the excursion boat she was in approached the shore. I would have been mortified. But first of all, I never would have signed up for anything like that. The men then went on a kayak across the water, which they themselves could barely swim in. They let all the piggies out of the crate and then threw them in the water in huge waves.
What?
Yeah, with current, they made with the current, and they made these pigs swim in water, and they were not allowed back on the beach every time they tried to get back onto the shore. And they are fighting for their lives, and people are just trying to take photos with them. It was horrible. I really thank her for doing that. I really do. Fisher said she chose not to participate further in the excursion, which cost $30 per person. And in an interview via Messenger, she said she was surprised at how everyone there could see how unusual it was and still chose to participate. Yeah, that's what kills me. Because you know what? They'll go, but I'll get a selfie. I'll get pictures. I'll look cool. Oh, dear. Anyway, Peter Adderley, he's the PR relations consultant for Celebrity Eco Adventures, said in a phone interview that the owners rebut any accusations that pigs are mistreated. The critics quoted have never, ever taken the tour, he said. Why would the girl make it up? And he says, we have trained dolphins and horses for horseback riding, and never, never has the Humane Society given an account of criticism of the way those operations are run. Oh, I'm sure they have. Adderley said the pen that Fisher saw houses only pigs in the morning until the first excursion, and they are taken afterwards to another pen for rest, water, and food before the next excursion. People like that don't treat animals well.
Oh, we have two pens, the morning pen
and
then the other pen. Oh, yeah,
Then they get a massage. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They sleep in a pen on the island, are well-fed, and are treated by the owners like family. You know what? It does not fly. Like this family thing is a load of BS, honestly.
Not all families treat each other well.
No, because if that was your family member, you wouldn't have them in a pen. You wouldn't be lobbing them into the water and starving them, so they have to go to the people for scraps. Or maybe you do. And if you do, you're a horrible family member. Anyway, they said that they have regular inspections with a veterinarian. It is my experience, I will tell you this. Animals that are exploited for money, that money generally does not go back to them in the way that they're treated, the way that they're taken care of medically.
That's why it's called exploitation.
Exploitation. Anyway, he said how it began. No one quite knows when the first encounter between tourists and swimming pigs took place on Big Major K and the Exhumers. The earliest mention of swimming pigs as an exhumer tourist attraction in the archives of the website newspaper.com was in the London paper The Guardian in 2002. Now, since then, the exhumer pigs have been the subject of numerous media accounts, including a book and movie, Pigs of Paradise, endorsed by the Bahamas official tourism promotion agency. They were featured in the hit ABC reality show The Bachelor and in an infamous promotional video for the ill-fated Fire Festival. Oh, yeah, you've yet to see that, Jem.
Thank goodness.
Anyway, also unknown is how the pigs got to the Big Major Key. Arana said it's likely an owner of one of the nearby Exhumer Islands owned some pigs and kept them there, knowing there was a natural source of fresh water until it was time to go to the butcher. Yet wild pigs have apparently been swimming around the Bahamas for decades, and in 1954, a story distributed to U.S. newspapers reported that wild pigs found on some islands often go to sea, swimming from island to island in search of food or to escape the dogs of huntsmen. Anyway, Arana and a colleague, Tip Burrows, who's the executive director of the Humane Society of the Grand Bahama, has been urging tourism and agricultural officials to regulate the copycat attractions. Remind me to do an update on the Grand Canyon, Jim, yeah? Because this just dovetails right into that. They are concerned about the apparent lack of fresh water and shade in the holding pen and want the government to set down rules protecting pigs from sunburn and requiring they get proper shelter, clean fresh water and appropriate food rather than scraps from tourists. How about a bit of freedom? Anyway, following the deaths of 7 pigs on Big Major K, veterinarians found large quantities of sand in the deceased animals' stomachs. Probably resulting from tourists throwing food on the beach. That's horrible. Anyway, Arana and Burrows...
Tourists are idiots. Sorry.
Yeah. Arana and Burrows said their pleas to the government have so far gone unanswered. Efforts by the South Florida Sun Sentinel to reach the nation's top agriculture and tourism officials were unsuccessful too. No swimming with the pigs in the US. Wonder why? No comparable attraction exists in the United States. Yay! Happy about that. And if an entrepreneur did try to create one in the US, it would have to be licensed by the US Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service and by its home state's Department of Health, according to the USDA. Anyway, states' health departments might look askance at... What does that mean, Jim?
Don't know that word.
Askance.
Don't know. Never heard it.
State health departments might look askance at permitting humans to swim in water alongside pigs in their waste. Okay. Referring to the Freeport Attraction Bureau as, where is all the pigs' waste going? In the water, and it's near a very popular swimming beach, a snorkeling attraction, and a kite resort with cottages nearby. In an email, U.S. Centers for Disease Control spokeswoman Kate Fowley said pigs, like many animals, can sometimes carry germs that can make people sick. Any of these germs can be spread through pig feces, urine, and other body fluids. Diseases that can be carried by even healthy-looking pigs include leptospirosis, salmonella, Campylobacter, cryptosporidiosis, and parasitic diseases like ringworm and ascariasis.
You and your big
and
words.
Fowlers, the email said, and don't be lulled just because they are cute. When they're hungry, they can get aggressive and bite. Did well on my words today.
Do people follow you for your big words?
I'm sure.
You're kind of known for your scientific pronunciation.
I just think people follow for a good old laugh. That's what I think. So this brings me to our friends over at SAVE, the Grand Canyon, and for a few years now, they have been raising awareness about how the pack animals are used for the Grand Canyon trips. It's 10 miles down, it's 10 miles out of that canyon. And the way that these pack animals are being treated is unreal. It is so cruel, and it's just so bad how a human being can allow that and think it's okay is beyond me. Well, you know, the controversy is that it's on tribal land and it's run by tribes. And so the laws are very different. It's a little bit difficult to work with them. They got their own thing going on. They've done a lot of lip service. And so SAVE, they tried the whole nice route. You know, let's talk to them, and they would make these promises, and then nothing would happen. The animals were so mistreated. They had a known animal abuser that was one of the guides. They were weighing these mules and horses down. The straps are too tight. They're bleeding. They are not getting food. They're not getting water. They're not getting rest. And it's hot down there. Now, I did an interview with SAVE, and I will also link that in the show notes as well, because I think it's something you need to know about, particularly people in our area, because this is our area. And a lot of tourist stuff happens here out to the Grand Canyon. And so it's not stopped. It's as bad as it's ever been. It's been going on over 40 years. That's 40 years. And, you know, we really need people to share when they see this stuff. It is very disturbing to see it, but we really need to just share it and discourage people from using pack animals. They need to pack in themselves and pack out themselves. And if they can't, take the helicopter ride. That's what you need to do, because people are getting there, and then they're seeing the state of these poor animals, and they're collapsed. It's making them sick to the stomach. Well, now the guides, now said you can't take any photos. So you pay a ton of money to go to the Grand Canyon, and you're not allowed to take photos the minute you're on their land with those pack animals, because they don't want the word out there. Well, we want the word out there. That's what we want. So I will link it out. It would be great if you could follow this group and share these news updates. And what they're doing is they're doing billboards. They are coming on shows like mine to get the word out. They're also reaching out to these tour operators and saying, are you aware of what you are selling? This is abuse. We can't allow this. And they're also reaching out to these travel bloggers because, let me tell you, they've seen what everyone else has seen, but they will write a glowing review because it looks good on their blog. Or maybe maybe there's an affiliate program and they make a little money from every booking that, a tour operator puts together. And they've been reaching out to them. And so you have got to correct what you're putting out there because you know that is not the truth. So if you want to know a lot more, I will post the link for the interview. It's one of my favorite interviews because I felt like we could make a big difference. And if you can share it, you'll be able to make a difference as well. But it all comes back to exploiting animals. And never feel bad about that because people try and make me feel bad about caring. It's a bizarre thing. I don't know what's wrong with people these days. It's very, very odd. Right and wrong is very easy to understand. And sometimes people say, oh, you're really harsh, Sam. Well, no, I know what's wrong. I know when an animal's not being able to be an animal. It's not getting rest. It's not. I just think there are other ways to make money. You don't have to do it at the back of an animal. And I have a big problem with that. It really makes my skin crawl. It really does. And you know what? I've had a belly full of people today already because third time now already I've had to try and find someone who'd left their dog in a hot car today. And she wasn't very nice. She swore at me, Jim. I don't swear, so I find it very offensive. But I went into my local Starbucks. I know all the girls. They all love animals. And I said, do you want to ask around to see who's left their dog in a car before I call the police? And they said, no, we don't want to get involved. And I said, come on, you're animal lovers. And they go, no, don't want to get involved, which was very disappointing. So we need to stand up and be counted for these animals, I have to say. So I went in and asked everyone, and finally some weird girl came out of the bathroom with a drink, which was creepy and gross. And I said, do you have a dog in the car? She goes, yeah. And I said, you're breaking the law, and it's very dangerous for your dog. It could die within minutes. It's hot already in Vegas. Anyway, she told me, you can just mind your own effing business. And I said, well, you're leaving your dog in a car. You made it my business. You've broken the law. Well, call the police then. I said, yeah, I will. I said, I'm within my rights to do that because you've broken the law and you can't treat animals like that. Anyway, yeah, so it's one of those kind of weeks. And you know what else I've just seen, Jim? It's a doggy daycare, pretty big company. And it's two dogs that are so close to having a fight, if you understand body language. And yet the people that work there filmed it and thought it was funny and tried to liken it to a scene out of Game of Thrones. Oh, this, naming these two characters. Oh, this is like so-and-so and so-and-so, like fighting it out on that scene. And I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So I left a message and on their Instagram, and I said, I am shocked that your staff members think this is cute and funny. Are they not?
And these are
educated?
These are other people's dogs.
Yes. Are they not educated in body language? I'm telling you now, I would not be surprised if after they filmed that really escalated into a fight. I would not be surprised. As a pet parent, I'd be furious. When I trust you with the care of my pet, I expect you to understand what's going on with my pet and other dogs. I did not like it at all. Don't know if they'll reply. They'll probably delete my comment, which I've been having a lot of that recently. And I just said, if I was a pet parent and I've entrusted you with my pet, I'd be furious about this. It's your number one thing you should be good at, which is understanding body language and safety. My pet's safety and that other pet's safety. I did not like it. And quite a few of my friends were already on that post, and they posted as well. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get why we've got so many professions in the animal world where people are not qualified and educated. I cannot take it. In Nevada, or at least definitely in Clark County, there is no certificate that you have to take, any training to become a dog groomer. Did you know that?
You don't have to have any kind of health department certificate?
No.
Really?
The facility probably has to have something. But as a groomer, no, not in town here. Not in town here. So there you go. So there's
I
that.
thought there would have been some kind of regulation.
No, and there's no regulation
health
on
department
dog
thing.
trainers, which is going to be a big show that I'm going to do in a few weeks' time. I am putting a lot of information and effort together to help you find a proper, educated, qualified trainer from an accredited organization, which means you've done the work. You've done the work. You understand the new research about training. Training's changed so much in the last 5 years, I would say. And wow, I'm seeing all kinds of pet training businesses pop up right now. First thing I do, head right on over to their website, look for any qualifications. None. I just see a lot of fluff. I see a lot of copying. And I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to give him any kind of airtime. But the little man that trains, copying all his verbiage, which is a load of rubbish. There's no science behind anything that's said by this particular trainer, and they're just copying. And again, your pet's safety and welfare depends on someone who knows what they're doing, because you can ruin a dog if you send someone to a trainer, send your pet to a trainer, and then they're using shock collars, prong collars, choke collars. They're using what they call balanced training. Now, balance means positive and negative training, in case you didn't know that. So this is why I'm doing this show, because you might not know that. Balance sounds okay. It sounds like, it's like your nutrition. I've got a good balanced diet. That sounds like a good thing. Well, it's not a good thing. So I'm putting together this show, and there's going to be phrases and keywords that you need to look for, and some you need to look for and stay away from entirely. Qualifications. I think you've got to be very careful when someone says 30 years training, and I'm like, you still aren't qualified, and training 30 years ago, not a good thing. So that does not impress me in the slightest. But I'm so tired of these different professions where people just don't have qualifications. They don't even list that they have pet CPR even as one of their qualifications. Like, come on. And if you've been training for years and years, why haven't you gone and got qualified? And I'm going to tell you what I think it is the main thing. I don't think it's money at all. I think I use aversive techniques, and they work for me and my personality, and I don't want to change. And it's not about the dog. It is about me. In fact, I just saved something. Well, I'll probably use it next week on the show. I just saved something about personalities and abuse, and the type of abuse and the type of personality, whether it's male or female, certain age, a spouse, that kind of thing. It's going to be very interesting.
Thornton is not impressed with those people.
No, she doesn't like that. She said, you know what? I think one of the things, and what's happened to me, I was saying about a lot of people have been deleting my comments and just not replying to my questions. Never ask anything in a disrespectful manner, ever. But I've asked a few training companies recently that popped up. I said, hi, could you let me know who your trainers are certified with? Which governing body are they certified with? And they have ignored my comment, and I've seen them ignore other people's comments because I know what people are asking. And they've answered everybody else's but skipped over me. And there was another guy who was like, yeah, you know why? Because they don't have any qualifications. I went to the website. There was nothing on there. Then I asked, do you use prong collars, choke, e-collars, whatever. E-collar is a shock collar, by the way, electric collar. Remote collar, same thing. And again, my collar was deleted on that one, but still answering everybody else.
You're not very popular with those people.
Well, I don't care, because this is about animals. This is about animals, and I'm so tired of pet parents being tricked, and that's what it is. And a couple of my friends have reached out and said, I had a terrible situation when I hired a trainer, and then they showed up and put shock collar on my dog, and just very upset. But in their initial conversations, none of that was mentioned. Oh no, it's an e-collar. It doesn't, they don't feel anything. Well, how does it work if they don't feel anything? Like, come on. So anyway, as I say, I'm a bit tired of people being tricked by trainers, by daycares who aren't qualified. and those kind of things. I don't think it's right. Would you go to a veterinarian that wasn't qualified? No, you wouldn't. Would you go to a dentist for yourself who wasn't qualified? No, you wouldn't. So why is this any different? You're putting your pet in someone else's hands, and for a lot of those services, you're not there. You're not there to see the daycare that had the Games of Thrones video they thought was cute and funny when it was a fight about to happen. That dog was putting out warning signals like back off, and they were laughing. So I'm like, are you kidding me? This is not funny. So when you're going to walk away from a groomer and leave your pet there, you've got to do your work. Anyway, I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to make your life a little bit easier. And what I will be doing is helping you understand and spot those tricky words and phrases and the qualifications you need to look for when we are wanting to hire what they call an R+ trainer, which is a positive reinforcement trainer. And for Vegas, because I am Vegas, even though we're an international show, I need to do a bit of a service, for my city. I will actually list the trainers I recommend. I already know it's not a big list.
Oh, you probably have some you could recommend in California and Utah.
Oh, I
do.
I do.
Arizona, so
I do. Laura Nativo for a start off. Linda Michaels. I mean, if you can get training with Linda, wow, amazing. And so we will. I'll make sure that it's all well and good saying what to look for, what not to look for. And I know people, especially in Vegas, are going to go, who can I go to? Which I do refer to quite a few people already, because I know that they are legitimate, but I will do a big service for our community. And I did have a few people say, oh, but I love so-and-so, so-and-so. And I just went over and checked their websites out, and I'm like, nope, that would not, my dog wouldn't be going there. And another thing too, this, what do they call it? Their boarding training program. Never leave your dog in the hands of a trainer and disappear for 2 weeks. Ever do that. And you are to be part of the training. How is it going to work if you're not there? Really important. So anyway, that's what's coming up in a few weeks. It'll take a little bit of work, and it's going to be absolutely worth it to be able to help as many people out as possible. Now, it may end up being a little bit like when I did the show, Jim, with the pest control people.
Yeah, it didn't go over too well. They couldn't get out of their pickle.
I'm a little bit too well read or researched. Anyway, a similar kind of thing happened with pest control. And it came from a friend saying, does anyone know of a pest control company that's safe for my pets? And I replied, none of them are. If they are using their traditional formulas, which I want to say they've been using for about 50 years, they haven't improved. If they're using the word natural, derived from chrysanthemum flowers, which is toxic to your pets, by the way. And that's how you get away with natural. That sounds good. But no, you don't want that formula. And that's why that stuff doesn't disappear. If it's there for a whole month, then it's toxic for a whole month. And you walk on it in your bare feet, and your pets walk on it, and they lick their paws. We had a friend, every time their neighbor had their pest control come out, because they don't have pest control, their dog had a seizure that day, religiously.
Terrible.
And impacted I think she had ducks at the time, impacted them. So I did the same thing. I reached out.
Speaking of the toxins, they found that 3-year-old mountain lion dead that they had been tracking for years. They got a caller that it was that it had died, and they found it, and they found rat poison, hemotoxins. Rat poisons are basically blood thinners, and they're finding that most mountain lions now have high amounts of these rat poisons in their systems.
That doesn't occur in the wild.
No.
That's horrible. Absolutely horrible. And that's how I feel about pest control companies. That's how I feel about, you know what, we haven't sprayed our house in like years. And what we use is basically the oils, so it doesn't harm your pets.
A little bug here and there, big deal.
Yeah, no big deal, you mean?
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal.
But yeah, so I did my homework, did my research, reached out. Oh gosh, just so many pest control companies, and asked some simple questions. Could you tell me what's in your formula? I've got pets, and I want to make sure that it's safe, not just for them, but for us as well. And they all said, "Oh, I assure you." A few of them said, "I assure you it's safe." I said, "Well, I don't want you to assure me. I want you to let me know what chemicals you're using, what's your formula, what's in it, so I can research it." And then they wouldn't reply back. Or some that I messaged. Well, here's the thing. I don't leave a voice message because of the accent, so it's kind of easy to figure out who I am. But I, emailed them, sent them messages on Facebook and stuff like that, and they either just ignored my messages or just said, "I assure you." I'm like, no, that's not good enough these days. And as I say, it's just, I feel like there's so much deception, and it's not fair. It is not fair to people who love their pets. It is not fair. And if you want to listen to that show, I'll link that one as well. Because after a while, it was horrific, wasn't it, Jim? Reading those chemicals and the damage that they do to your pets and yourself. Not good.
I can't believe. I mean, we had a long time. We had lots of learning process through all that. House chemicals, dryer sheets, cleaning agents, pesticides, weed killers.
Yeah.
All those kinds of things. And, it's like, well, I mean, and then how many years have we not done petroleum distillate or aluminum chlorohydrate deodorants? I mean,
oh yeah, we
haven't done that for more than 12 years.
Yeah, maybe a little bit longer than that even.
Well, I don't think we stink.
There's a lot. I think there is a lot to learn, especially when you first have your first pet, because you don't know what you don't know. You have no idea, but there's so much good information out there. If you keep listening to this show, we keep putting it out there for everyone. But yeah, we cover some topics that people don't think about. Now, this is one piece of news that I found. It's a very old piece of news from 2012, but I've not known of this happen elsewhere. There's nearly 60 brands of flea collars for cats and dogs have been withdrawn from sale in France over fears they pose a danger to humans, particularly children. So I say this was a 2012 piece of news, but it's still relevant to kind of the topics we're talking about today. Because, well, I'll read this for you. The, I've got to do some French now. The Agence Nationale du Médicament Vétérinaire watchdog withdrew the permit for sale for the collars as they contain organ phosphates, toxic insecticides known to harm the human nervous system. Humans in close contact with animals wearing such collars could be affected, not to say how they affect the animal as well. After examining the data surrounding these organophosphates, the French decided it was not safe for pets or for the people close to them, especially young children that sleep with their pets. Organophosphates were originally developed as a nerve gas in World War II. Did you know that, Jim?
No idea.
Because you are a World War II buff.
I am.
But they were adapted to target insect pests. They are absorbed through the skin, especially through prolonged contact. So these are going to be accumulative by the sounds of it. Agency director Jean-Pierre Orand told Sciences et Avenir magazine, "We looked at several criteria and noted people's change in behavior towards their pets, marked by increasingly close and shared contact, especially the fact that many children do sleep with their cat or dog. Some countries work around such dangers by recommending that people avoid extended contact with a pet. But hey, this is France, and in France, they love their pets." And as Jean-Pierre said, "We thought this was not compatible with people's way of life, and we preferred to impose a ban." Do you know how much I love him? ANMV withdrew products containing the chemicals dimphylate or diazinon and propoxer and tetrachlorvinphos, and a list is available on the website.
Do those toxins exist in this country? I wonder.
Probably, because flea tick collars are bad news, and the drops are really bad for your pets. They can cause seizures, burns, all manner of things. And like they're saying, contact with people too is not a good thing. It's pesticide, in case you didn't know that. If you're using a flea collar or you're putting drops on your pet, you're putting pesticide on your pets. It is important to note that the very same chemicals now banned in France are still widely available in flea collar and other flea treatment products in the US, which I already know that. Poison Pets, that's the website I got this from, recommends avoiding all such products and to consider healthier alternative treatments of fleas, which there are, and be careful of alternative treatments as well. Many natural remedies are toxic to cats, essential oils, for example. And remember, a healthy pet with a good diet is much less vulnerable to parasites, illness, and disease. And they said, besides, who wants to sleep with nerve gas anyway? Now, as I say, that was an old piece of news, but I'd never heard of them ever being pulled from anybody's shelves. So I think that's wonderful. They understand the dangers of that for both the pets and the people. When it comes to, you mentioned essential oils here, there's only one brand of essential oils called Animal EO, as in essential oils. And it is formulated by a veterinarian. Her name is Dr. Melissa Shelton. And batch tested and tested and tested and tested. And that's the only brand that I would recommend. None of these others. In fact, there's something in the news this week. Young Living essential oils, never used them. Sourcing them from China and never been tested on animals, but I think they have a line for animals from what I could gather. I don't know too much about them because, there's only one brand, like I said, formulated by a veterinarian, tested batch over and over and over and over again to make sure that they are safe for dogs and cats. Now, with essential oils, and I won't go too much into essential oils, but essential oils you use them in a very specific way. You can diffuse them, you can dilute them, you can actually spray them, you can do the petting technique where the oils go on your hands and you stroke your pet. Very specific how you use each one of them. What Melissa Shelton does is she has blends for very specific things. So if you've got a cat with anxiety, there's a specific blend for that. So it's not, here's some lavender, here's some this, that, and the other. They are specific blends. And it is something that you do have to be very careful of because there are other essential oil companies out there that are touting it's great for pets and people are using it. It's not good. Similarly with plug-in air fresheners, same thing, can cause seizures. You've got to be very careful with birds. So, but that's going to be for another show. That's definitely going to be for another show because that's a pretty big topic and we should bring her on the show itself. Now, to close out today's show, I think I'm going to talk about a new documentary. I love a documentary. Just love a documentary. And this has just come out. Cindy Meal, which I think, if I'm not wrong, am I friends with her on Facebook? Let me check if I am, because you know how you have those friends in your, arena, and sometimes you don't get to meet them until, you meet up at some, there we go. Meet up at some, pet event or expo or something like that, which I've made friends with lots of people online and eventually got to meet them, which is great. So hopefully I'll get to meet her. But at the Tribeca Film Festival, Cindy Meal, she's come out with the Dog Doc. And she's the director. She's the executive producer of a documentary feature films. And her documentary feature is called Buck. The first one premiered at 2011 Sundance Film Festival, where it won the Audience Award and was on the 2011 Academy Award shortlist. She has produced many documentaries, including For the Birds, Trapped, and Unbranded. Now, the newest one, the Dog Doc, will premiere at the 2019 Tribeca Film Festival on April 28th. I've already had a ton of friends that have already gone to see it, and raving fans of this festival. So this is how she describes the documentary. She said it focuses on an animal clinic that has become a mecca for hopeless cases. We follow the doctors, clients, and pet patients at Smithridge Veterinary Centre to tell this emotional story. The film examines how we have perhaps gone overboard with invasive procedures and medications that may not always create optimal health for animals or people. The pet parents who find their way to this clinic have often gotten several opinions that are quite dire. We follow the dedicated doctors and owners who believe that there is almost always hope and each animal is treated as an individual. I know how, I really like that because I think with a lot of veterinarians, it's here's my formula, it's for everyone.
Like the vet we had to fire.
Yeah. Yeah, we fight a couple of them, but we've got an amazing vet. We have for the last, how many years? Quite a few years,
many
yeah.
now.
But yeah, so and when those kind of things don't work, it does feel like your pet's not being looked at as an individual case. She says, I know how emotional it is to go through having a very ill dog, and I feel we have captured that tense drama through all the ups and downs that go into caring so deeply for a pet. People just want to do the best thing they can for their animals, and my hope is that this film will enlighten them to a way of thinking that is new and exciting. And she was asked, what drew you to this story? And she said, many years ago, I had a dog who was dying at the age of 6. I had been to several veterinarians and no one had any answers except for antibiotics and steroids. I found myself at the door of Dr. Marty Goldstein, and he talked to me for an hour explaining how a body heals and why he believed my dog was suffering. He took her off all the meds and put her on homeopathics and a few supplements. I followed his simple directions and she totally reverted into an energetic, bouncing puppy again. It was a miracle indeed. I started taking all of my dogs there and learned so much over the years. I see so many dogs that are clearly not in good health. You can tell by their energy and coat. I knew that the first appointment with Dr. Marty had totally changed my perspective on health and healing. And I just wanted to share that with people and hopefully improve the quality and longevity of their pets and perhaps themselves. Well, I really like that because I feel like that's what we did with our vet. She gave us recommendations not for just for our pets but for us, didn't she? For our home. And I tell you something, I think if you go to your veterinarian and you don't learn something every time you go to them, and you're not in a position where you feel like you're comfortable to ask lots of questions, then change your vet. Because I think you need a very strong relationship. I mean, at the end of the day, it's another person that has to come into your pet's life that you need to make sure that they understand you, they understand your pet, and you feel comfortable speaking to them. She says, what do you want people to think about when they are leaving the theatre? She said, I hope that people will consider what they can do to improve the health of their animals and truly carry it through. Sometimes it is the simple changes that can create great results. I have already heard from several people who saw a rough cut of the film and are now much more aware of nutrition for their dog or cat and are elated with how quickly they are seeing a difference in their pet. She said the biggest challenge she said they were immersed in Smithridge Veterinary Centre for 2.5 years. They must have seen a lot. The clinic was running on their normal daily schedule. We had to scramble to keep up with appointments and who was coming in the door. Often someone would show up in a crisis with their pet and we had to quickly explain what we were doing and see if we could film their appointment. It took a lot of trust and luck to capture this world that was an ever-moving target. It would have been impossible to make this film without the amazing support that the entire clinic gave us as they allowed us to invade their very busy practice. The clients were so grateful for the kind of care and attention they were getting, and they were eager to tell their stories of all the trauma they had gone through and what was happening with their pet. We are forever grateful for that kind of access. It was the only way to really capture what it goes on in a clinic. And how it was funded, she said she rolled the profits from previous projects to develop this one and then solicited private funding for the rest. I'm a big believer in finding people who are as passionate about a subject as you are and with dogs, and it was not hard to find like-minded people with a shared mission. And she's asked, why did she start becoming a filmmaker? And she says, I suppose the subject of my first film, Buck Brannaman, inspired me to become a filmmaker. I had ridden horses for many years and found his approach so radical from what I'd been taught that I believed it needed to be told far and wide. That is when I decided to make my first documentary, and I really enjoyed the process. Now, Dr. Marty is very similar to Buck, she said, in a way that he approaches animal health in a totally different way than what she was used to, but similarly, I found it so much more effective than what I had been doing. And I like this question. She was asked, what was the best and worst advice you received? And she said the best is to do test screenings with both filmmakers and non-filmmakers to get completely different kinds of feedback. Yeah, that's brilliant. Anyway, she said the worst advice I ever received was when I was making Buck, that no one would watch a film about a cowboy without famous cowboys in it. And Buck turned out to be very successful, and it played in over 600 theatres in the United States without a single famous person in it. And she just goes on to say, for female directors, stay true to your vision, follow your passion, make sure you have something to say that will better someone else's life, and have a lot of confidence in that. And she said that we still have a long way to go. Feel that women are being taken more seriously in filmmaking now. It is evident in award shows and film festivals where we are seeing more women's names appear. I really think our work should be judged by its merit and feel the female voice has a lot to offer in the wisdom and perspective that is uniquely female. I bet that was hard to make that documentary emotionally, because you've got some big wins and, it's got to be sad when they come in the first place. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to her and see if I can get to view it online, hopefully, which often I get to do. People will reach out to me and say, we've got this documentary coming out. We'd like you to look at it and review it. For example, Pet Food. And if you're not sure what that's about, wow, you need to watch. I'll link that up too. You need to watch Pet Food. If you want to improve your pet's health through good nutrition, then you need to know what you're actually currently feeding your pet before you can make that step. And it will spur you on to go down a much healthier path for your pet's nutrition and health. And I will link that up for you as well. But often I'm very, very privy to things that come my way before they're released. And it's great. I'm really excited about that kind of stuff. Well, Jim, we're at the end of the show.
Woo.
I think I'm on this is literally 60 minutes, yeah?
You're 101.30.
101.30. Oh, okay. I did pretty well. But some interesting topics today. Very interesting topics. I will link everything up in the show notes for you. And look forward to the dog training show that's going to come up. Yeah, and maybe, like I say, I might do a separate review show on products, and I will let you know when that and if that happens. Well, Jim, thank you so much.
Don't mention it.
If you've liked today's show and you're listening, especially on your smartphone, there's always an option to share the show directly with your friends and family on your social media networks. And we love a good old share and a recommendation. If you are listening to the show on iTunes, we would love a review. Reviews are always good. And remember, you can always help an animal in need. Whoa, what'd you do to my mic then? Did you just try and mute me?
Little glitch.
So rude.
Don't worry about it.
Remember, you can help an animal in need. Either rescue, adopt, donate, volunteer, share their information, and refuse to take a selfie with wild animals. And rescue your next family member, because there's plenty of them in these shelters and rescues, and they need to find their forever homes. And replace the word shop with adopt, and be kind to all animals, not just cats and dogs, but all animals that exist, including those cute goats that we met. And again, thank you, Jim. It's been great for you running the show for me, with you running the show for me. Yeah. I thank my dogs just for being really cute. I mean, that's all they need to do to get the thanks. And take a moment to like us on social media. And if you're on our Facebook page, then of course, feel free to post pictures of your pets. Tell us who they are. Tell us what you love about them. And today you've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, where it's all about pets, people, and pop culture. And I'm your host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. And always, kiss your pets good morning and good night. And I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. You've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Visit Vegas Rock Dog Radio for more information. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And subscribe on iTunes and iHeartRadio. And remember, give your fur babies a big kiss from me, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. You must not rely on the information in this broadcast from our hosts as an alternative to medical advice from your veterinarian. If you have any specific questions about a medical matter regarding your pets, you should consult your veterinarian or specialist.